Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Radio Free Decipher. This is Evan Lorenz.
And with you, as always, Kyle Hoyer.
And we are joined today by Mr. Joel Boulden of our art department. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
Of course. It's been a little while. Maybe several months, maybe even bordering on a year.
Yeah, I think just about.
We don't, I guess it being an audio medium, it's kind of tough to discuss some of the work that you do.
Right. It's all basically visual. So.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, recently, our art team, you guys, Joe, you, were nominated for one of our industry's most prestigious awards, the Origins Award for Best Graphical Representation of a TCG.
Wow.
So that's really cool.
Kind of a first for us.
It's a great honor.
Yeah.
So, the awards are not in yet, so we don't know if you won, but I'm crossing my fingers right now.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what it took to design the cards, because I mean, obviously, right now there are 10 different templates if you include the locations, 11 if you include the ring.
Yeah.
Well,
that's just cultures, because of course the verbs and the nouns have different templates.
Right,
so.
And there are more being designed as we speak. So.
Now, did you get a chance to actually see any of the movie or read the script or anything beforehand to sort of get a feel for each one of the cultures in designing, to design these? Or
well, not actually, but I kind of felt like I had by the time I got done working on the movie.
Because you've seen all the images.
Right. I mean, we have thousands upon thousands of images, some of which didn't even make it into the movies.
Right.
And I felt so familiar watching the movie. It was like every shot you see, you'd realize, oh, yeah, that's going to be this card. I knew this was going to be that card.
Sure.
But yeah, I felt very familiar with it. I mean, I in order to create the forms, I made sure that I became intimate with the details of what all the jewelry looked like, and all the embroidery, all the set pieces, and things like that. So, really felt like I'd seen it.
Right.
I think it's fair to say that even some of the people here in-house in Decipher don't appreciate how many iterations these things go through before they reach the final stage.
I was just about to ask that same question. How many different templates did you go through before you worked and had the
just ballpark?
Hundreds upon hundreds. Hundreds upon hundreds.
Wow.
So
and then again on even card backs, things like that.
Right. I think several times, I had over 17 gigabytes available on one machine and ran out of space.
Wow.
We'd have to offload them and
sure, and you print all these out and run them up to Warren's office and say, okay, what do you think? And he says, change this, circles that, scribbles all over the piece of paper, and then sends you back downstairs.
Oh yeah, it's great. You'll work for a week, and then get before a meeting with like 10 of the guys from the TCG group, and
Warren and Dan as well. Dan Burns, the art director.
Feels like a crucible. You walk in there and it's okay, now it's everybody's job to find everything wrong with what you just did.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things I think you did with this was the function of the layout of the cards, because like on a possession, the name is off on the left-hand border, and on a weapon, or the strength modifiers and vitality modifiers are off on it. So if that card is underneath the main card that it plays on, you can still see all of the relevant information and stuff at a glance, and that's just awesome.
That actually was a convention that was developed by the game designers upstairs.
Oh, really?
And it worked very well as something to design around and illustrate. So,
when you go to design a template, how many elements are kind of prescribed to you, and how much do you guys get to play around with it, would you say?
Well, I get kind of a blocky, rough draft, kind of the stickman version that I put together, and that's not really fair, actually. There's some fairly competent artists in the design group upstairs, but then it gets to me, and I need to take it apart and figure out what's going to work visually. But we work very, very close. We had, must have had 50 meetings just going back up, sitting down, running through all the parameters of all the individual cards and how would they work. So.
Wow. Was there any one particular culture that was very hard to nail down, harder than any of the others? Or any that were particularly easy, that just one of the early iterations. That was it.
I would imagine that some of the cultures, like the elves, would have high, like
the elves took quite a bit.
Yeah, because there's so much, it's like these are the elves. They have to be, perfect or whatever.
I thought that I had the elves nailed. I thought that I had come up with the final form. And I was so proud of it. It was at that point, it was a very silver-looking form.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But as I was working on it, Warren Holland and Dan Burns were down in New Zealand, actually sitting in an editor right across the hall from where the film itself was being cut.
Okay.
And they were looking at details that I could never see in the shots that had actually been provided up to that time by New Line. And I got this desperate call from Dan telling me, wait a minute, hold off on the elves. Everything about elves is embroidery. You got to look at, you've got to see what the costumes look like. And so they were frantically sending me images of the embroidery and the costumes look like. And then I would take those. And, it's embroidery on a robe, and the character's moving, and it's blurry, and you can kind of tell in motion, but it's still you can't.
Not to mention that at the time you were first working on these templates, like you said, they were there pulling images at what you had at the time was on-set photography and such, which may or may not have the details you're looking for.
Right, and they're sending me all this stuff as we go along that's much, much better. So I had a real moving target to hit.
Right.
But then, I get the stuff, and we wanted to really bring out the details, so I would go back and re-illustrate these things so that they'd be nice and sharp and you could really see them. And in the past, our games have been done at 350 dots per inch. Give you an idea, the resolution on most people's computer screens is about 72 dots per inch.
Right.
I felt that there was so much detail involved here that we started designing everything at 450.
Wow.
Which is just unheard of. It's extravagant, But
I think it shows, though. I mean, there have been a number of licensed products that have been coming out in the last year from other companies, and the image quality is often, people notice the difference.
Well, tell us, there are other steps that the art team, I don't know if you necessarily work on this as well, but when you get the image for the card, you don't just put it on the card. It takes, goes through a number of different revisions.
Well, it's funny because what was happening is we were getting early photography, and so you'd have whole scenes shot on different days with different lighting and different cloud conditions and all this. And these images look completely different. And as we were working on that, and Dan and Warren are down in New Zealand, they were grading the color on the film. And suddenly they'd take all these disparate shots and make them all look like the same kind of blue at 10 o'clock in the evening. And we'd have to go back and recolorize all the images that we'd already retouched up and make it match what Peter Jackson was doing on the fly down in New Zealand. So very, very interesting experience to do that.
And you also clean up a lot of graininess. Like if there's a picture in the background or something, you have to enlarge it, then you take it and you clean it all up.
Oh, sure. A lot of things like orcs, the orcs don't get a whole lot of close-up time.
Sure,
You've got thousands of orcs.
They scare the children.
At once. Yes, exactly. Exactly. But we've got cards that single out a lot of individual orcs here, so we'll pick one out of the background and zoom into it. And, of course, the camera was probably focused on Frodo up in the foreground, and they're the orc is a little out of focus of Goblin, and we'll have to go in there and sharpen them up and change the focus, make it look like that was the camera shot, a big close-up.
Right. And then every now and then, even when something is the focus element of a picture, the image can still be grainy, depending on just what the context of the scene is, or
Sure.
So even a simple thing, motion blur.
I mean, we're not talking about a lot of still photography. We're talking about action battles.
Right, swords flying around and
orcs getting getting stuck with arrows the thickness of a broomstick.
Right.
And all this stuff is motion blurred, and we'll have to sharpen it up and try and make it look like a still picture. So you get a better look probably than you actually get in the movie.
Wow. That's good stuff.
So stuff that people notice. They may not know that they're noticing it, but they do.
I got to tell you, the card that I have seen so far from Lord of the Rings that has stood out to me to be absolutely the most beautiful and the perfect mesh of image and culture so far is one from the upcoming set.
Oh, you're teasing
so I'm
everybody.
going to tease everybody. This card right here, The Hollowing of Isengard. I won't tell anybody what it is or anything, but the picture is just striking. All the deep blues and the rich oranges and reds. And
now, those of you who are going to run off and make spoiler lists based on this, it is important to note that since the set hasn't gone to approval yet for New Line, it may not have that title when it's all done. It may not even end up in the set.
And what I brought up here to you guys today actually is a printout from a rough draft of the set. The pending New Line, the set is pretty much done.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But these are actually earlier versions too. So.
Right.
Oh, the Book of Mazrable. Oh wait, everybody knows.
Everybody knows about that one.
Everybody knows that one already.
I can't let you leave this room now.
Well, thanks for bringing the.
And good luck on the award nomination.
Yes,
I'm sure you guys will win. You guys are a lock, man. There's no doubt.
We will look forward to that at Origins.
All right, thanks so much, Joe.
Thank you.
Awesome. Those guys are awesome.
I know.
They take so much care of the licenses that we have. It's just, I honestly believe that there's no better art team in the industry than ours.
Indeed, and it's nice to know that the fans do appreciate the art. It's a shame that sometimes the word doesn't get to them because they're obviously not as involved.
Right.
I mean, they don't get to go out in the community like some of the marketing people and even some of the people in the design studios get to go out and interact with people at conventions, and they typically don't. But
they spend huge amounts of time down there. They're always there on the weekends, late at night.
They're always the first people to arrive, the last people to leave.
Well, I mean, they're all artists down there, so they take each card like it's a piece of art, and they want to work on it until it's the best it can be, and they take great pride in their
But I know that people notice because on the BVSs when new cards appear, there are just as many comments about the way they look as to what they do.
Yep.
So
good stuff.
All right. Before we sign off for this broadcast, we had one more interview that we had to absolutely get in today, and please welcome our newest Decipherian, Brad DeFruiter.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Woo!
Welcome, Brad.
And of course, those of you who know that we tend to record these things a day early, those in the know would understand that Thursday, April 11th, is Brad's birthday.
Yeah.
So now that, well, first of all, tell us a little bit about where you're from, what you're doing, and why you're here.
I'm from the third floor. I was doing by email.
There's some scale involved here.
And you called me to have me come down here, so that's why I'm here.
Right on.
Right.
But before you came to work for Decipher. Yeah.
I'm from Gunnison, Colorado, and I went through, it seemed like a very lengthy application procedure to get the job out here. But now that I'm here, I'm working in the TCG studio.
Right on.
I guess it depends if you call all that play testing part of the procedure, then about a 4-year interview process.
So you're working up in the TCG studio, working on game specific, or are you pretty much going to be working on all the different games up there?
I was told during the interview process that I'd start with Trek products, and then I may get moved around or anything like that.
Oh, right on.
If I get locked into Trek for the rest of my existence here, I will not complain. But I would like to mess around with some of the other stuff.
Great. Good stuff.
I think we will be shuffling folks around, so...
I think Evan's the only one ball and chain to Trek for the rest of his life.
Not necessarily. I mean, even that I'm pulling away from a little bit. Not a lot right now, but
sure. But now there's 2 people that are very knowledgeable about the Star Trek products. So.
Yeah. In fact, Brad did better at both of the World Championships we were at, or just one?
Both of them.
Both.
Dang
That's
it.
what I thought.
I finished higher than both.
And then I had to disqualify you in Florida. What a terrible story that is.
Yeah, but that wasn't as bad an experience as the year before, because the year before I didn't make the cut to 12, and what was bad about that was people kept on coming up to me and asking me, what happened?
Well,
what happened? Well, when it got really bad was when I was in the autograph line to get autographs from Aaron and Chase.
Oh, I thought you're giving autographs?
No.
Well, of course.
He is Brad DeFruiter.
So while I was in this interview line, Chase sees me like 3 people down and says, Brad, what happened?
Chase
Exactly. So I've got to explain with this audience of the whole line wanting to know. And then Aaron is before Chase, so Aaron wants to know more game specifics of what happened, of what went wrong, and then starts asking me, well, what, could you have done this different? And then the guy three back from me in line is saying, you should have done this, and I'm just like, well, great, I'm glad everybody had this 20/20 hindsight here for me.
That's funny.
Man.
Oh man. So it was a lot rougher 2 years ago when I actually played all my games.
Right. So Brad, what did happen?
Well, now let me change topics a little bit. Rumor has it that there is a religion based on you. Tell us about the religion. Tell us about the Church of Brad at churchofbrad.com.
I'm not sure if they're going to like us giving them all the web traffic.
You know, I think it was more of a joke, and it's come on to a nice little following that of making fun of Brad was a good portion of it. But I think now it's a great excuse to put a name on a community where you can go, you can chat, you can do some puzzles, you can play some games.
Right. You can write hymns.
Yeah.
Sing Bradmas carols, because today, Thursday, is Bradmas.
Right. Yeah. Well, I should send you one of the hymns that was written this year that I received yesterday. I'll email that to you so that you can just have that.
Yeah, I can sing it?
Yeah, for Bradmas.
Sing it for Bradmas? Very nice.
Do people go caroling on Bradmas? We should do that.
Wow.
It might scare the neighbors, though.
Yeah.
I think we've just scared half of the Radio Free
sure
Decipher listening base. So,
but ultimately it comes down to like a Friars Club roast that is ongoing for you.
Exactly.
That's classic. All right. Well, thanks, Brad, for
good to have you on the
hanging
team.
out with us, and I guess we'll be going over to the mall and eating lunch quite often. So.
Yeah, I'm excited about it just for that alone. But the best thing is when going over there with Kyle, it's like, we're not talking business, are we? We're not talking work. We're here to eat. I love that. That is the best part.
Oh, and then somebody,
Joe Allred is that way too.
Yeah, and then somebody will start talking business, and we'll all like shun them. Like, what are you doing?
Put up the bid.
1 hour. Come on, 1 hour a day, guys, where we don't talk, work. So very quality. All right. Well, thanks for joining us here on Radio Free, and good luck upstairs on the third floor with all these crazies. So.
Thanks a lot for having us.
No problem. Church of Brad, that's awesome.
I'm wearing the T-shirt right now.
That's right. So, thanks for stopping by, and we got one last piece of business before we take off.
Because this weekend is going to be the pre-release tournaments for the motion picture set for Star Trek.
Fun. I have not got to open a pack yet.
No?
No. I saw a bunch on your desk. Did you get anything good?
Yeah, I didn't get James T. Kirk, but I got plenty of other stuff that's fun.
Did you get God?
Yeah, I did.
God.
I got God.
I
also got God. What does God need with a starship?
I pulled God in the pack.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the jokes never end.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, the jokes are ending now because we're signing off for this edition
very nice
of Radio Free Decipher. Thanks so much, and have a great weekend.